Hey mom friends, this is Functional Medicine for Moms, where we look at motherhood through the lens of functional medicine. I'm your host, Kelly Moline, a pharmacist with advanced training in functional medicine. From pregnancy and postpartum to everyday parent life, we talk root causes, natural solutions, and real stories from our own family's journey, plus conversations with experts along the way. Welcome to another episode of Functional Medicines for Moms. I'm Kelly. I'm a licensed pharmacist, functional medicine consultant, wife, and new mom.
And I'm Landon Moline, Kelly's husband, and father of our little baby Danielle.
Which is crazy because we won't be saying baby for that much longer. And even as like my intro is new mom and all of these things, which I feel like I'll feel like a new mom forever, but she's going to be one soon.
I will call her baby forever, so speak for yourself.
Yeah.
But I feel like 1, 2-year-old, 3, they're still babies.
Yeah, well, you also didn't know what a 2-year-old or 3-year-old looks like until we're out in public, when my friend came over and she brought her like little baby that was Danielle's age when they were just a couple months old, and then her toddler who was, I don't know, like a year and a half at the time. And, you know, she's helping me in the kitchen. She's doing all these things. And then later you're like, wait, she was under 2? Like,
Yes, this is true. Yeah.
Or we were at a restaurant and you're like, oh, that kid is not behaving. I'm like, well, that kid is probably 3 years old. And you're like, what? They're 3?
Yeah, they seem so much older because like we had like an infant and she was tiny.
Yeah.
And they're like walking around talking.
Yeah.
And just like there's no way that they're that close in age. But yeah.
A lot's going to change.
A lot changes, yeah. So that's why I feel like when you say new mom, it's like, well, you're a new mom of this new stage every time they go through a milestone. So
yeah, right. And like when people say first time mom and all of that, I'm like, you feel like you're the first time mom for your first child with every new milestone they're doing. Like, are you saying you're still a first time mom when they're 16 and you're like, well, I've never had a 16-year-old, so
yeah, I don't know if you can say first time mom after you've had multiple kids. But like even with multiple kids, like the scenario is always changing.
Yeah, right. And
all kids are different. So like
yeah.
you could be a first time mom to this kid that was like much easier, and then you have this kid that's more colicky and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, this is the first time you've had to deal with that. So yeah.
Or like we're girl mom, girl dad. And so if we have another, and if they're a boy, the whole thing changes.
Yeah, we'll have to say functional medicine for moms and make it like a first time of this kid. We'll have to get really specific.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, so happy New Year, everyone. It's January now, and 2026.
2026. Wow.
So yeah, we'll recap our holidays. We're going to talk about birthday plans. And then we're going to move into attitude of gratitude. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Landon has helped create a segment in the podcast episode today. I'm very excited.
I mean, I had an idea.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Well, usually you show up with your dad joke and you're like, so what's this episode about?
True.
So I'm excited.
I don't know. I don't want you to build it up too high because I feel like I just threw the idea out there and then you're like, oh my goodness, you have a whole segment. I mean, it's going to be short, but.
Well, we're giving you your flowers and
boy.
Hopefully it continues. So yeah, so we got back from Minnesota. We are originally from Minnesota, I want to say. And I say that with like an asterisk because I was born in Texas and we live in Texas now. And then I moved to Minnesota when I was 7. So I was like raised in Minnesota for sure. And then you were born and raised in Minnesota. And then we met in Fargo, North Dakota. And that's where I went to school. And you were in Moorhead. So just right across the river in Minnesota. And then, yeah, we lived there for several years. And then I got my residency down here as a pharmacist. And we stayed. So now we're used to the warmer weather, and that's a lot nicer than some of the Minnesota weather in our opinion. I'm just not a fan of the cold. I don't do outdoor activities. So
Yeah, I will say Minnesota has super nice summers. If you can be there for like the 2 months that it's like perfect,
Yeah.
it's awesome. And I do like their falls where it's a gradual seasonal change and there's like a whole couple months of flannel weather. But like down here, we go from like super hot to like wet and cold. And then, yeah, it doesn't last as long. There's not like a
Well,
gradual
our
change.
fall in the DFW area is in like November.
Yeah.
November, December. But then when we were gone for Christmas, it turned back to 80 degrees while we were gone.
That's where like the fall is really like it'll be a couple of days in like the 40s and then a couple of days in the 80s and then it kind of goes back and forth, but it doesn't like gradually change and then get into winter. It goes from like okay, you could have an 80-degree day, but then all of a sudden there'll be like a switch and then it's just cold for a month.
But that's how Minnesota a lot of the time is too. Like sometimes they even skip their fall. Like when it snows really early and it's just hot and then it drops really quickly and then it snows. I feel like this year they got snow. Was it this year? They got snow pretty quick. And so they're like, well, here's winter. And I feel like at least when we lived there, it was always like trying to push back winter as much as possible. You still have like PTSD from the winter before. And so you're always like, no, I'm not ready for winter. At least me. But I'm not outside. I have Raynaud's, so that's when your blood doesn't circulate to your extremities very well when you're cold. And so I do not like being cold and it's kind of painful for me. So
Yeah, I feel like some people think it changes quickly up north from, summer to winter, but being in football and like practicing outside, to me it always felt pretty gradual. Like you had a good amount of time where you could have bonfires outside and flannel weather, but I guess for you it's different. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I think you too, you'll like to have bonfires outside and have flannel weather. You'll extend that where I'm like, it's 30 degrees and it's cold. And you're like, nah, it's still flannel weather,
And the fire keeps you warm.
Yeah. I'm like on top of the fire because I'm so cold. Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend.
But yeah, so we went to Minnesota. It's been a few months since we flew with Danielle. And she's like in a new stage, right? Last time we flew with her, she was 7 months, I believe. So she just started crawling before we left then. And so she didn't really know it very well. Like she still liked to be held by us a lot. She didn't need to crawl. Where now, when she flew at 11 months, she's very much like get up and go. We're almost entering like toddlering era. And so she wants to be on the ground. She wants to be crawling. She wants to pull up on things. Yeah, so it's very different.
Yeah, it proved to be a more challenging flight because she wanted to be moving and she pretty much just like went back and forth between us the entire flight.
Yeah.
And was harder to get to sleep.
Yeah.
Because there was just more going on and she was aware of it all.
Yeah. And yeah, I think since she's been about like 4 or 5 months, she's been a lot more aware. And when we're like out and about, and it's a lot harder for her to nap when we're out and about, unless we're like driving in the car. But yeah, the plane rides are definitely exhausting. Like I used to nap in the plane on the plane a lot, and that's rarely happens anymore.
Yeah, now you get to stay up with me instead of napping on my shoulder. We try to get the baby to nap. And
yeah. And you used to just like watch a Netflix movie the whole plane ride, and that's
can't do that
impossible. Yeah.
No.
So it's a little exhausting, but I think worth it.
We're just trying to keep her happy so she doesn't cry the entire plane ride and annoy other people.
Yeah. Well, I don't care as much about other people as much as I think we started with it. But I don't want her upset either. And it's just like more stressful for us if she's crying. And there were tears. There were. There's times where she's a little bit stressed, and then there's times that she's fine. So
it was fun. We were there for a week, from like Saturday to Saturday basically, and got to visit. We stayed with your family, and so she got to spend some extra time with her aunt, your sister,
Mm-hmm.
and then also her grandparents. So it was fun for her to get to be with them and bond with them a little bit more since they live in another state. We also had a few of my brothers come out and visit for a little bit for like a day, and she also got to see my dad. So that was fun as well. But yeah, she did pretty well. I think that it was it was just fun to like see her in her little Christmas outfits that your sister got her and your parents and stuff like that. And I think she had a lot of fun with like their dogs too. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was nice to be in another state for a while. I get to enjoy the snow. We did some sledding with her. We tried to. She wasn't a huge fan. I think it was a
Yeah.
lot going on.
Well, so we borrowed a snowsuit, which was great since we were only there a week. And so we didn't have to like purchase everything. And then just traveling with everything, our bags were stuffed to the brim. So
Mhm.
I'm really thankful that we were able to borrow some snow gear, especially for her. And then even when I got there, I'm like, to my mom and sister, I'm like, can I just borrow your stuff? I don't want to travel with snow boots and a coat and all that. Like, so we put everything on her, and she's like, like in the Christmas story when they're like, I can't put my arms down. She's like,
Yeah.
what is this? And so she's already kind of like freaked out and not very happy. And then we go outside and we're taking pictures and it's fine. And then I put her down in the snow, and it's like not very nice snow. They got a lot of snow before we got there. And then they had a 40-degree day. So a lot of it melted and then it froze. So it's like that hard snow. And so I put her down, and, she's wearing boots. She doesn't wear shoes. She rarely wears socks. So she's like, what is going on? I'm getting set down in boots in this snowsuit. And then she just cried. And then it was hard to like come back from that.
Yeah. We were trying to do a lot to get like pictures and stuff, and I think she was just uncomfortable.
Yeah, sledding was fun. It was probably more for us, but we got some good pictures out of it and memories for us. And then we took some family pictures a little bit later so we can have some pictures in the snow. And she didn't seem so upset then.
Yeah, because she wasn't all bundled up in all that gear. So I feel like because she was in more normal clothes, she felt more comfortable, and yeah, she did pretty good.
That's true. Yeah. I'm excited to get those pictures back too for her birthday. But before we get into that, let's go into like our family traditions and stuff. So, as this is our first Christmas with her, we're getting into building our own family traditions as well while mixing with our previous family traditions. So, we're starting to kind of build that. I don't know if we had the best plan going into it, but hopefully we can kind of create that better a little bit more next year. So I grew up like with Santa a lot, and I asked your mom, and you guys did Santa as well, but you didn't like believe in Santa. She never like sold it
No,
as
it
what?
was just like a wink, wink,
Yeah.
like, oh, Santa's coming, haha,
Yeah.
with a wink.
Which we fully believed in Santa, which was definitely fun. But as we're like growing, at least I'm growing like in my faith. And I think you guys definitely grew up more religious than we did. And like now that's coming to me more later in life. And I think we had a really fun Christmas upbringing, but I've seen where people are making it more about like the reason for the season and Jesus's birth. And I wasn't like taught that exclusively growing up. So I wanted to have that be more of like center stage for our baby. But it's hard because I mean, she's like just a baby right now, but that's like my idea going forward. And so, but that's kind of confusing for my family who's solely done Santa. So we're going to like try to figure out what that looks like in the future.
I mean, every family builds their own traditions, and I think, um, like, it's two families coming together when you get married. So it's like you're not going to keep everything the same, because if two families did it differently, you're going to have to kind of create your own traditions. So I feel like people shouldn't take it personally if you change some family traditions to make them your own. It happens all the time with everything, not just like Christmas. But yeah, I think, yeah, we're trying to kind of center the focus on Christ, and yeah, which kind of means that like Santa's kind of takes a back seat to that. But I think, yeah, I think that's fine. I don't really know what to say about it. I guess there can be, it's going to be, as far as when you start traditions, I feel like it's good to start them early, because then it's just kind of ingrained, and you don't really know when the kid's going to like fully remember like their first Christmas, I guess. So like creating those traditions now will just kind of make it easier. And so I think now it's as good a time as any to start creating those.
Yeah, it made me realize what holes we have, because like I brought our stockings and stuff that we've always done, and we have like personally made and all these things, and my mom's like, "Well, why are we doing stockings if you don't do Santa?" And I'm like, "Well, I've never thought of that. I just thought it was fun." I mean, we're still doing gifts and we're not doing Santa. And so I thought stockings was just kind of in that category. And so I don't know if it'll be more of like what you grew up with like, oh yeah, Santa, wink, wink, or I don't know. I'll probably talk to some friends who like didn't grow up at all with Santa. Like I have a friend who didn't grow up at all. So she's like, yeah, we'll just do that again. And she loves Christmas now, and I hear about people who do make it more about like Jesus's story and like the magic behind that, because I think there is still like obviously a lot of magic behind that. But as you grow up, that magic never goes away. Like you realize how magical it really is, where the Santa story, like you grow up and realize it wasn't true and it was like a lie. And some people, like, I never felt like I was lied to, but some people really did. And they have this like traumatic story of the day that they found out, and they asked their parents, and whether their parents were like, oh yeah, it's not true, don't tell your siblings, or if they continued on with the lie. Yeah.
No, I mean, everyone's got kind of a different experience with it, but like I have friends that, they found out Santa wasn't real, and after believing it, and they were just like, oh, okay, well, oh well. But then there's some that like were really mad at their parents for lying to them for so long. And so so there's people on both sides of the spectrum there. But like we did stockings, but we would kind of go, oh, Santa's gonna fill your stockings, like go to bed, and we'd wink about it. So to me, when we brought stockings, it wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, we could still do the stockings and the gift exchange and all that kind of stuff, but like not have Santa. But yeah, I think everyone kind of does it differently, which is why I'm saying like, yeah, you're gonna kind of create your own tradition and stick with it. Like I think growing up, you said you had. You guys would read the night before Christmas, and growing up, my family would read, like from the Bible, they would read, about Christ's birth,
like Matthew,
in the gospel,
like in the book of Matthew or something.
Yeah, so like that's kind of we would both do that every night before, like on Christmas Eve or whatever. But yeah, I think you just kind of create your own tradition, and then you kind of combine the two, met in the middle, and you found a book that was the night before Christmas, but
it's called "'Twas the Night."
"'Twas the Night," but
it has like the same rhyming and rhythm to "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," with the Santa story, but it is like the story of the night that Jesus was born.
And so that's kind of where you combine them. So
yeah.
I thought that was good.
It didn't make everyone happy at the time, and I understand where some feelings are hurt of like we're changing it, so it feels like our traditions growing up weren't good enough or don't meet our standards now. And so it's a really hard line, but I don't think that. I think we still had a great childhood, and I have very good memories of Christmas. We're just trying to do something that aligns with our values now.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm like, it's nothing personal. It might feel personal because like this is what we did, so you're saying it's wrong, but it's like every family creates their own traditions, and you're not going to do everything the exact same way. And there's also two families being combined with different traditions on both sides, so it's like you can't keep everything the same. It just won't happen that way. So yeah.
So we figured that out. I think in the future too, I want with like Danielle, because like next year she'll be almost 2, which is crazy because now we have a baby who's almost 1. And so it's like fun and it's fun to see her. But next year she'll be like, have more of the personality. She'll have opinions. Like she'll be so much more involved next year. She'll know what's going on a lot more than she does now. I'd like to involve her into like the shopping process because I think a lot of the time, like growing up, my mom just did a lot of the shopping for us. And so I think it'd be fun to have her involved of like, okay, we're picking something out for your dad. We're picking something out for your aunt, something like that. So she feels like part of it. And then she's like excited for the giving part too, not just like the receiving part.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We oftentimes when there were like 5 boys in my family, we'd actually do kind of like a secret Santa, and we'd draw names of people who were going to give the gift for, and then we'd have to actually go out and pick out a gift.
Yeah. And so I think we're going to do something like that in the future. So, because now it's getting to be a lot of purchasing, and I do a lot of our shopping for everyone. So like you'll be involved. So you'll be solely in charge of who you draw next year kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you're watching on YouTube, our view has changed because we had a little tech hiccup. And so now we're just working with one camera. So yeah, this is how it goes. We are not video people. We don't come from a video background. We don't come from a tech background. I'm a pharmacist. Landon is an accountant. And here we are trying to make a podcast.
Yes.
So thanks for watching if you're on YouTube. And
if we sound frustrated with technology, it's because we are.
We are super frustrated. This is now our 3rd take. And we're just trying to get through talking about Christmas.
Before Danielle wakes up from her nap.
Yeah, we are on time crunch. So moving on, let's move on to planning her first birthday, which you'd think we have like all the time in the world to plan, which I also knew last year just of like how it goes with preparing for birth and everything then, which feels like a lifetime ago when we're thinking about that. But when we're preparing for birth, I'm like, okay, once football starts and the fall starts, everything just kind of like goes fast. And then I was doing February. So I'm like, okay, and then January will come. We'll kind of have a breather, kind of want to get everything ready and then have her in mid-February. Well, we ended up having her 5 weeks early. And if you wanted to like listen to her birth story, that is an episode in itself. But we had her early. So yeah, now it's like, okay, football, holidays, and then it's her birthday. So I've been like mass ordering everything so it comes in time for her birthday party. And with the holidays, things can like be a little bit slower with shipping and delivery, which I know it's like such a first world problem, but here we are.
Yeah. And how's that going? What is the theme of the birthday? Do you want to share that?
Yeah. Well, I shared it on a previous podcast episode as well, but it's Winter Wonderland. So one is enunciated there.
You say I'm dad jokey.
Yeah, it's very pun intended. And so, yeah, that's also why we got pictures of Danielle in the snow in Minnesota. That was a selling feature from my sister who was like, please come to Minnesota for Christmas. We can get pictures for her birthday. I'm like, well, that's intriguing. So, yeah. Because I originally just wanted everyone to come here so we didn't have to travel with an 11-month-old. But here we are. So, yeah, we got pictures of her in the snow, which is really fun. And we'll have like snowflakes. It'll be pink. It'll be white. And then what I was always wondering is like what people did with the cake, because we're not planning on having any added sugar before 2. So like some people, obviously do the whole cake thing with the cake smash when they're 1 and, let them enjoy that. And if you want to do that, I'm not saying anyone is right or wrong. It's just what our values are and what we want to do. And some people are like, let's not do any added sugar, but in moderation, it's fine. Or special events, it's fine. I just don't want to do that right now. And it's, again, more for us than for her. And she really loves fruit. What baby toddler doesn't? So we're going to do a cake, but it's colored and flavored with frozen dried strawberries that my friend is going to make for us. So it'll still be sweet-ish and no added sugar. It'll be sweetened with strawberries. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So my friend actually found the recipe when I was like, oh, I don't want to do any added sugar. And it was cute because the cake itself ends up being pink, which is perfect. But yeah. And then, so that's what we're doing as like a compromise. And I asked a lot of moms who recently had their own 1-year-old birthday party of like, what did you like? What would you change? What would you keep? So I've been trying to gather a lot of info there. So what I've heard the most is the day goes by fast and they feel like they're on a time crunch the whole day and they're not able to enjoy any of it. Whether they're like running behind, whether they're hosting. I've heard that a lot of like, I just feel like I'm hosting and I don't even get to spend the day with my baby at all because I'm doing all these things for other people. So I'm trying to like navigate that with taking everyone's advice while making like our own plans too.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
So since your mom lives with us, I'll probably have like her do some of the hosting and then I can be like more with my baby enjoying that. We're just going to have a small party just at our house. We're not renting or anything for this. We're just doing it kind of sweet and small. And my family's was coming down. I think my sister still is coming down, but my dad got hurt while we were in Minnesota and tore his rotator cuff hunting. So that's a bummer. So my parents won't be coming, but it'll still be good. That's what FaceTime is for.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just keeping it sweet and small. We're not renting anything. We're having it at our house. We're having family. We're having a few friends. We're having a few babies. We went to a 1-year-old birthday party a few months ago, and there were a lot of little babies around, which was fun to see them like playing together or playing near each other more than playing together. But yeah, then we'll have a toddler, especially once she starts walking. I think that'll be like a clear difference from the baby life.
Yeah, I think the milestones that I like look forward to or notice are not so much like in her age, but they're like what she's doing. So like it's crazy to me, like once she starts walking, that's going to be a whole different world, which we've kind of talked about in the past. And so like I'm looking forward to it, but it's also terrifying. And she'll be doing that when she's 1. So I guess like if you want to correlate it with the age, that's kind of where I can say like it's just exciting that she's this old now, that she's going to be doing those things. But I'm more like the milestones to me are more not so much on the age versus like what she's doing now.
Yeah. Well, and with it now being like the new year in January and her birthday being in January, I feel like we can like recap the year. People recap like, 2025 as a whole. And I feel like we're kind of doing that with her too, because like a year ago we were pregnant and going into this new phase of life. And I couldn't even fathom like what it would look like to have an almost 1-year-old by this time. Just like right now, I can't even imagine what it's going to look like to have an almost 2-year-old or an almost 3-year-old because it's just so different than what we're experiencing now. But yeah, we've gone through a lot of changes this year for sure. Mm-hmm. Where a year ago I was working full time at the pharmacy and we were like thinking of starting a business for functional medicine in itself, but podcast wasn't on the plan at all. Like that came out so much later, that idea, which it's been a really good time and I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. But it's crazy like how much has changed just in a short amount of time, in a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year has gone by quicker than any year in the past. Life just does not slow down.
Yeah. Well, they say, like, with a baby, I hear a lot of the days are long, but the years are short.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like that makes it sound like the days are just terrible, but they're not.
No. I will say in the newborn trenches, they were absolutely amazing on certain times. And then the nights were certainly long sometimes. And I don't want to scare anyone into that because it was good too. But I think like right now, I'm like so far removed from the newborn trenches that I'm like, that was amazing. Let's do that again. But yeah, it was definitely like good and I mean hard at the same time. So, but you
Yeah,
remember what you want to remember.
it's a rewarding
Yeah.
hard. I think that's the difference. It's not like you're just pouring like 100% of yourself into something that's just like not going to be fulfilling or rewarding in any way, shape, or form. It's just like a waste of time. I think that's kind of where like it's difficult and it's hard, and that's where the days can be long. But it's at the end of the day, it's like more rewarding, and I feel like Danielle just brings like so much joy. Like when you get her to like giggle or whatever else, like that's just so like fulfilling to see that and to like be a part of that. So I think that's kind of where um, you want to do it again with another kid, and that's the drug that you get roped into.
So kind of on that same note, this is the transition to your
Oh,
segment.
wow, that's actually not a bad transition. I didn't really know how we're gonna get into this. No, so, okay, so kind of what I was thinking. I think talking about like the first year, kind of recapping it a little bit. I've seen that there is like a big importance in gratitude in a relationship, especially when you have a baby. I think the times where we have felt most frustrated over the course of this year with just because a lot of roles are changing, you're trying to find like who does what and all that kind of stuff with a baby in the mix. I've just seen that like one of the biggest reasons we get frustrated with each other typically is because we don't feel appreciated, or we feel like what we're doing is going unnoticed. And so that's kind of just, we've tried to, I mean, later in the year, we kind of realized that, and we just started trying to be more aware of that. And you're big on words of affirmation. I didn't grow up with a lot of words of affirmation in my family. I don't know if it's just like a boy thing and we had all boys. Like my family is just not not big on words of affirmation and like saying like I love you and just saying thank you a lot and stuff like that. We had good manners, but like not we weren't like always showing
It
gratitude.
was
And
more politeness than anything.
yeah, and people show gratitude in different ways. They can be expressed in different ways, or it could be just verbally. That would probably be the easiest one. But so yeah, I just wanted to kind of like going into the new year. I think it's kind of like a nice little New Year's, starting out the new year with gratitude. So I wanted to kind of challenge everyone out there to kind of show gratitude to their significant other or to those they feel supported by. But before I do that, I want to I listed out some things like why gratitude is important. I kind of just jotted some things down. So one, it can make your partner feel valued and appreciated. Two, like it signals that you notice and respect your partner's efforts. Three, it shifts the focus from like what's wrong to what's right. I think a lot of things during the year with all the changes that you can really focus on the negative, like, oh, we don't have time to do this or we can't do that. But like, I think, showing gratitude shifts on like, oh, this is what is going right. This is what I appreciate. And so I think that's a good shift to focus. Overall, it just boosts happiness. And then like the last one is just, it reinforces positive behaviors. If it lets your partner know too, like, I like that you did that. And so, if you want to see that more and you say, well, thank you for doing that, it usually tends to, I guess, validate that like, oh, keep doing that. And again, I mean, it feels good to be appreciated for something, but then you'll want to do it again because your partner likes it. So those are the reasons I think it's really important to express gratitude. I am not very good at that. I've been trying to be better. So with that, I just want to say like a few things I'm grateful for. But I think the overall challenge would be to go and think of maybe it's just like one person, and just express that you're grateful for what they do in your life and who they are in your life. And yeah, I think that's a good challenge. So for everyone out there listening, do that today. Not when you're driving, but you could text them, call them. I don't know. I think it'd be a good thing to do. Start the year off with some gratitude, and then practicing gratitude. Like if you have a gratitude journal, or you kind of have an app that you can say 3 things you're grateful for.
Let me get the name of that app.
But I am grateful for your nurturing of Danielle and all that you do for her. I mean, there's a lot kind of, it's a very vague overarching thing, but I think just you being a stay-home mom, and just pouring yourself into her, into what she's eating, into what she's reading, and all these kind of things, and just trying to constantly give her the best possible path to good health, and just, I mean, all the things she's learning and being smart and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot that you do that takes a lot more time. You could just kind of do what everyone else is doing, and just kind of I guess spend less time researching what's best for her. But yeah, I think you try to give her the best possible, you make the best educated choice you possibly can for every aspect of her life. And so I really appreciate that. I think we've gotten a lot of support from like family and friends this year too, in the first year of parenthood. And so like have my mom here to help take care of her, and your parents, when we visit them, giving us like a date night when they watch Danielle and things like that, I think has really helped with a lot of the changes. And just having friends that'll, even when it comes to like when we first had Danielle and them bringing us a meal and things like that. And then just, I'm thankful for Danielle. I mean, just like I said, the joy that she brings, is something I really didn't anticipate. Like you don't anticipate you're going to love something that much, and they're going to like make you so happy, because they're a lot of work. So, but yeah, so those are the 3 things, but, yeah, that's kind of my challenge, is just to show some more gratitude and practice that. It's going to be my kind of New Year's resolution, I guess, because I could definitely get better at it and express those things more, both verbally and just in just simple acts throughout the day. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I will try to do the same. I was listening to a podcast last night on my drive home, and like another mom podcast, and she was talking about how motherhood, and I'm sure parenthood as a whole, you do feel like very underappreciated, mostly probably because your children they're not the ones like giving you that feedback. Like if you are working at a typical traditional job, your boss is typically giving you feedback. Well, when you're like a parent, your boss is like this baby that can't really say anything except for love you, I guess. But yeah, so a lot of times it does come from your partner, but your partner might not be there all the time to see that like everything you're doing they might be there day to day, but not necessarily hour to hour. And so I'm also grateful that you are working really hard to provide for our family. And then when you are home, you're trying to be involved and still putting our marriage as a top priority and learning how to be a father and everything at the same time. And yeah, grateful for my family for helping when they're here or when we visit them. They're very much hands on deck. How can I help? Do you want to go take a nap? Kind of stuff. And then your mom has obviously been a very big help, being able to help while I'm starting my own functional medicine business, while we record podcasts. She even, voices our podcast to her own clients or when she's out and about, which, that's how our podcasts get shared, is really just word of mouth and little things here and there of moms who really just want that connection, want to hear more about a healthy, holistic lifestyle, especially from, functional medicine expert or pharmacist like myself, and us too, just figuring it out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's a good challenge, whether that's a text to someone that you appreciate and want to show gratitude towards, whether that's your spouse, all of that.
Yep. And even if you are good at it, like, do more.
Yeah. Everyone loves it.
Yeah. I mean, like, nothing bad can come of it. So, like, I think starting the year off with that is just kind of a good way to start. And I think also showing gratitude just makes you a happy person too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think it feels good to show gratitude and to like show your partner gratitude.
Yeah. Well, and then you start like, when you have to say it or write it down in the journal, which the app is called Gratitude Plus, which is really fun because you can add friends. And then even the friends I don't talk to necessarily every day, when I see their gratitude every day, I'm like, oh, and it comes like they can upload a picture with it. So you see a little bit into their day and like the happiness behind it. And so you're like looking for that throughout the day of like, what am I going to put down on my gratitude, which is the whole like science behind it.
Yeah. I think it is an interesting point though, is that like a lot of what you're doing at home as a mom during the day is for the baby, and the baby can't necessarily be like, oh, thank you for that. And so that can be daunting for a mom for sure. And like, obviously if the dad's not home all the time as well, to see it, like there's no one to just say like, oh, thank you for doing that. It's like, you just gotta, it's a thankless job is kind of what they say. So yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So with that too, we're very grateful for y'all out there. I also want to say shout out to my sister because she started editing some of these podcasts. So I'm very grateful so I can spend more time with my baby rather than the hours of editing that goes into this. And I want to be show gratefulness. I want to show gratitude for our listeners out there again for sharing our podcast. I just got an email saying that we are number 3 in the top 15 Crunchy Mom podcasts of 2025, which is unreal. I mean, like I listen to other podcasts on that list. And so to be included in one of them when we started releasing them halfway through the year in 2025, I think is just really cool. And it kind of shifts the perspective of, I'm always like, oh, we have this new podcast. We have this new and growing podcast, which it has been and it still is, but now it feels more of an established podcast in the sense of there's these panelists that came together and selected it from people we don't even know, and we're selected into that same group of very established podcasts that have been around for years.
Yeah, I always thought that people like paid to be on those lists, but we didn't. So I was like, oh,
we've done
wow.
0 paid marketing so far, and that might come eventually, but right now it hasn't. But yeah.
Yep, pretty cool.
I think that that's really cool, and I'm excited to share that, and I'm excited to be included in that. And so thank you all for listening. And then if you'd like to work with me or work with us in 2026, I wanted to highlight some ways that you're able to do that. So obviously you can stick around, listen to the podcast, which we love and appreciate. You can definitely share. If you have guest ideas or topic ideas, feel free to email me, kelly@molinemethod.com, or DM me on Instagram @functional medicine for moms. And I love hearing what you guys want, and then obviously getting more guests, more experts, even crunchy moms, I think is great to like hear their perspective and where they're coming from and build that community in itself. So that's one way. And then if you also want to help our podcast financially and reach more people, and if you have a business in itself, especially in the motherhood or parent lens, or maybe a health product or something like that, feel free to reach out to me to be a sponsor, and we can help share your business with more people who are looking for that. And then also, I do have a new and growing functional medicine practice that is virtual in itself. And so I shared our last podcast together that I wanted to open up more supplement consultations with people. So I'm going to be doing that for January, and we'll see how that goes and what people like from that. And then I'll kind of regroup and see what I want to do with that in the future. But that's something that I've really enjoyed, just being as a pharmacist at the pharmacy. When people come in, they have questions. They're like, hey, I know I should be taking something, maybe multivitamin, maybe I have trouble sleeping or whatever that looks like. And I need some opinions, and people have really appreciated that just on that side, and helping educate people on their bodies and their health and what they can do to really feel better naturally. And so I'm taking consults for that, just quick over the phone type consults. And then if you want to learn more,
how can they find those? And those are free, right?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, molinmethod.com, and it'll be the banner on the top, and you can schedule there. And it'll just be a quick phone call. There'll be a form you can fill out so I can get to know you a little bit better, so we can make the most out of our time. And then I can recommend supplements for you, and like quality professional grade supplements that you can purchase from me, but you're not obligated to purchase them from me. So that's one way. And then another way I can help, if you're interested in learning more about functional medicine in itself, I can help guide you from there. Obviously, we do functional medicine labs like hormone testing, cortisol, gut health, detox, genetic testing, thyroid testing. So there's lots of stuff that we can do to help you feel better and help identify the root cause, so we can make personalized programs using professional grade supplements, lifestyle, nutrition, all of that. And then some people are even able to reduce need for prescription medications, which is really cool to see. So that's another way as well. I think that's it. So definitely reach out to me if you want to learn how you can work with us or me, either through the podcast or through functional medicine in your own health.
Awesome. Well said.
Yeah. And so Landon wraps up with a dad joke. So what dad joke do you have for us?
All right. See if you get this one. Why was the broom late to class?
So I've literally never gotten anyone in the past. So let me, it was swept away.
It overswept. Close.
I was close. Yeah. Guessing dad jokes is just not my strong suit.
No.
But yeah, that was
You read
good.
too far into them.
I thought it was something
It's
with
that
sweeping.
educated brain.
Yep. Okay. Well, thanks for listening.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to my podcast, Functional Medicine for Moms. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss one, leave a quick 5-star review, and share it with your mom friends who love it too. I'm Kelly with a background as a pharmacist and training in functional medicine. I help women move past fatigue, brain fog, gut issues, and hormone struggles so they can thrive in everyday life or prepare for a healthy pregnancy. Through lab testing, personalized supplements, and functional medicine coaching, I help you feel better, faster, naturally. Want to connect more? Head over to molinmethod.com or come hang out with me on Instagram and YouTube at Functional Medicine for Moms. On my site, you can order professional grade supplements at my discount or book a free discovery call if you'd like to see how we can work together on your health. This podcast is for educational purposes only and not medical advice. Always talk to your provider before making changes to your health plan. And remember, healthy moms raise healthy families. Catch you next time. New episodes released every Wednesday.